While watching the multi-billion-dollar medical tourism hub in the heart of Texas video, a few things I found interesting were how it's not only the medical side of things, there's also a housing market included and touring where they go around the different tourism sites that are included, the different interesting things that people might be included, all brings revenue into the city. The housing side of things, there's also around the campus is all the apartments and houses and hotels there are that are fully furnished for them so they don't have to worry about it while they are taking their trip for their health. Another thing I found interesting is medical tourism is not just going to like Mexico from the United States. It can be anything going out of town, going out of counties, going out of states. Say instance, me going to my doctor who is 15 miles away could be considered um, medical tourism. I don't think people really realize that. I didn't know that that would be considered that until watching this video. Um, Something else I found interesting was how bad health has declined since the COVID pandemic. Not only because of the COVID pandemic, but because people were too scared to go to the doctor because they didn't want to get sick with COVID. They didn't want to waste people's time. They didn't want to leave their house. They also became lazier. They binge watch shows. They began eating more unhealthy because they were stuck at home and there was not much else to do. All of this added on more and more health conditions, so everyone's health has just declined significantly over the past few years since 2019 when the COVID pandemic had begun. Um, Another thing was bills are now higher, and that's not because of all the inflation that's happening right now. It's because of the health status of most people because they pushed off their health for so long, not wanting to go to the doctor or anything. So it slowly started adding up to more and more health conditions, which makes a lot of sense. But I would have never thought of that like that. Um, a state that I think of for medical tourism is Minnesota. They have the Mayo Clinic that's located in Rochester, Minnesota. The May, as for Mayo Clinic website, under their cardiovascular medicine tab, the Department of Cardiovascular Medicine is one of the largest and most comprehensive heart practices in the world. It includes more than 240 experts in congenital heart disease in adults and children, which is quite a large amount. There's people that come from countries, states, very thousands of miles away to just to come to this hospital because they have such high expertise in cardiovascular medicine. Um, People not only look for them, people look out of town towards the Mayo Clinic because they have such high experts. In South Dakota, we have the Heart Hospital in Sioux Falls, which is a very good hospital, but they might not have everything that we need per se for an open heart surgery. There might be more underlying conditions that you need to go to Rochester for because they know exactly what they are trying to figure out in there. A financial impact that I discovered during this is how much medical tourism actually brings in. It brings in the housing, it brings in the tourism, it brings in the medical bills, it brings in the food, it brings in any money that they are spending in the town that they are staying, brings in any revenue to that town. So Rochester is only 1.5 hours from Minneapolis, which is the biggest city in Minnesota. So it attracts them to the Mall of America and any other big tourism spots, big food places, anything. It all brings revenue into that state because of the money they are spending. Um, the Mayo Clinic is actually has a hospital has a mortality reduction project going on. The project leadership team attempted to implement standard system wide improvements while allowing individuals to simultaneously pursue site specific practice, redesign opportunities, and between the end of 2015 and the end of 2017, the mortality was reduced from 1.78 to 1.53, sorry. So the Mayo Clinic sticks out to me because my grandpa was in there. He had an aneurysm while getting onto a flight in Denver, Colorado, and they flew them there, and they needed to do a surgery to replace his valve, and they didn't want to open him up because he was too at risk. So they went in without opening him up, and they accidentally nicked his heart. So they had to cut him wide open, which was not too worrisome because um, they have so many um, high expertise surgeons and cardiovascular doctors there. So it's a very cool hospital. They have a very big campus. You talk to everybody. They're um, very expertise on it. I would recommend people going there for any cardiovascular needs.